So what we're doing today is we're just going to make an escape room. It's going to be really easy. We're really just going to get the code. So we do not need to worry about the layout. We're not going to put in any pictures. This is just going to be, we're just going to throw the elements on so that we can get to the code. So what we need to do is we need to have 4 screens. So I'm just going to go and add those screens now. Screen 2. Screen 3, screen 4. And then make sure that we go back and we're working on screen 1. And so the first one we're going to do is we just want to, I want to show you how to have a checkbox that can give your user a hint. So all we need is a checkbox, a button, and a label. Okay. For my checkbox, I'm going to rename this. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. I'm going to rename the checkbox. I'm going to call it hint checkbox. And I just want it to say hint. My button, I'm going to rename it and call it my next button. And I just want it to say next. And my label, so this is where I'm going to put my hint. I'm going to leave it, let it be called label, but I'm going to change the text for it. I'm going to say, I'm going to give my user a hint. So for this page, it's going to be real easy. They just need to go to the next, hit the button to go to the next page. So we're just going to tell them to do that. Click button, go to the next. Click the button, go to the next page. Okay. But here's what I want. I don't want them to see this hint until they ask for it, until they click on it. Okay, so I'm going to hide this label. Okay, so I got label 1. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to turn my visible to off. Okay, so they can't see it. Let's look at our algorithm here. What we want is for them to, so this is our conditional. This will be my event handler. This then is my if. This will be my then, and this will be my else. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this label until they check the checkbox. So once they check the checkbox, we're going to check to see if it's checked. Is the checkbox checked? If it is, we're going to set the label visible to true. If it's not, we're going to set the label visible to false. Okay, so we're going to go to our blocks. And we just need to go through, we need our event handler first. So when the checkbox is changed, okay, whenever they check the checkbox, it's going to run this code. And then I need my if then else statement. And we do that in control. So we go to control and we're going to pull out if then else. Okay, remember my if is my question, my then is my true, and my else is my false. Okay, so my question is the checkbox checked? So I go to my checkbox. This is an easy one. And we're pulling out checkbox. There it is. Hint checkbox dot checked. So is the checkbox checked? If it is, that's my then is my true, then I want to show that label. So I'm going to set my label visible to, and then my true is here in my logic. Okay, so my label is in my label drawer, my label visible is in my label drawer, and then my true is in my logic drawer. And then if they are wrong, or sorry, if they uncheck the checkbox, so if it's not checked, we want to hide the hint. So here we go. We're doing the same thing. Set label visible to false this time. So now when they click the checkbox, it'll give them a hint, and when they uncheck it, it will turn it off. You can go ahead and test that on your app. The last thing we need to do is we need to code the next button. So when they click next, it's going to take them to the next screen, screen 2. Okay, screen 2 is going to be a little bit different. We need a label. We need a password text box, and then we're going to use 2 buttons. So my label for this one, we're just going to tell the user what the password is. So we're going to say password is Apple, lowercase. My password text box is just a text box. It's just a place for them to type. The only difference between this text box and a normal text box is these dots. A normal text box gives them letters. A password text box gives them dots. And then my buttons are going to be my check button, where they can check their answer, and my next button, which will take them to the next page. I don't want them to see this button yet until they get their answer. So we're going to hide this button just like we did the hint on the last page. So we're going to hide this button. And for the algorithm, let's take a look at that. So there's a little more going on. So the check button is going to be our event handler. So when they click the check button, we're going to they're going to see if that answer is correct. So the computer is going to pull out their response and test it against our response. And then if they're right, then these 3 things are happening. We're going to set the next button visible to true. So we're going to show them that next button. We're going to hide the check button. So check button visible to false. And then we're going to give them a text label that says good job. If they get it wrong, we're going to change the check button to say try again, and we're going to add another one here. We're going to change the label to say try again, maybe give them a hint. All right, so let's code it. So our event handler is going to be the check button when check button clicked, and since we're doing a conditional, we need an if then else. So for our if, we need to check to see if they got the right answer. So we need to go to logic and pull out an equal sign. Don't go to math. There is an equal sign in math, but we want the logic equal sign because we're not dealing with numbers, we're dealing with words. And we're going to check to see if their answer is the same as our answer. So we have to find their answer first. So we're going to password text box text. Here it is. Password text box text, and then we're going to see if it's the same as ours. We got to tell it what ours is. So we're going to pull out a blank string. So go to text and pull out a blank string, and then we're going to type in our password here. It's got to be the same. Don't spell it wrong. There we go. It's got to be the same. So if it's capital here, they're going to have to put in a capital. If it's lowercase here, they got to put in a lowercase. So if they get the right answer, then we want these 3 things to happen. So we're going to turn our next button on. So we're going to change the next button visible to true. so they can see the next button. We're going to turn our check button off, so we're going check button visible to false. And we want to change our label to say good job. So we're going label text, set label text to, and then what we want to say will go in here. Good job. If they get it wrong, if these two things do not match, then that's going to be our else, right? So this is our false. Else is false. So if this is incorrect, then what do we want to happen? Well, we want our check button text to say, try again. And we want our label text to also say try again. And we'll give them a hint too. Try again. The password is go. And then the last thing that we have to do is code our next button so that the next button goes to page 3. Go ahead and try that, make sure it works, and then we'll do page 3. All right, screen 3 is real simple. All we're going to use is a label and a spinner. The label, we just want to say choose a direction. And then for our spinner, so spinner is multiple choice. So all we need to do is tell it what we want our choices to be, and we put that here in the elements. So we're going to say north. We separate them with a comma and a space. North, south, east, and west. Okay, comma and a space between each one. North, south, east, and west. And one thing I like about the spinner is that we don't need any buttons. So let's look at our algorithm real quick. So we can, if you want to use buttons, you can. If you want to keep your escape room consistent, you can, but we don't need to because the spinner kind of acts as a button. So once the spinner is selected, that's our event handler. We're going to check the answer, and if it's right, then we can just open the next screen. It can go right into the code. If it's wrong, then we'll tell it to try again and give them a hint. Okay, so we need our event handler is whenever they select something from the spinner. And because we're doing a conditional, we need an if then else. And our if, again, just like the last one, we're checking the answer. So we need this green equal sign. And what we're going to check is their selection. So we're going to get our get selection here from our spinner event handler. And we're saying, does their selection equal our correct answer? We got to tell it what the correct answer is here. We're going to say east. And if it does, then we can go ahead and open the next screen. So we can go right into the next screen here. So we don't need a button. So you can use a button if you want, but in this one, I'm just giving you some more options if you don't want to. If they get it wrong, remember else means that it is false. So these two things do not equal. That's my else. Then we're going to change our label tell them to try again and give them a hint. Try again. Least. Okay, that one's real simple. Go ahead and try it. Get it on your tablet. Give it a shot. Okay, for screen 4, we are going to use sprites. So if we're going to use sprites, we need canvas. Canvases are found in the drawing and animation drawer. We're going to pull out this canvas and we're going to make it real big. We can fill parent for both the height and the width. We also want to use, we're going to do 3 sprites. So we're going to pull out 3 sprites. And we're going to name them. So the first one's going to be my ghost. That's my character. And then these are going to be doors. What? Door. Sprite. Good. This will be door. Door sprite bad. And we'll go ahead and set the sizes to those. So 50. You can choose other pictures if you want, or other images. And other images, obviously, you can use other sizes as well. Okay, so we want to make it so that when the ghost goes into the good door, we win. The ghost goes into the bad door, we lose. So we also need a way to tell the user if we win or lose. So we're going to need a label. We'll put it at the top here. And we'll make this real big so they can see it. And we're going to hide it for now. And then when we go to our blocks, first thing we need to do is make it so that the sprite can move around. So we'll go sprite, and nope, sorry. Go to canvas, and when canvas dragged, we're going to move our ghost to whoever our finger is, so X, Y. So we've done this before. We know how to move a sprite around a canvas. There's different ways to do it. This is the easiest way, so we're going to do this way for now. You can use a different way if you want. And now we're going to say when the sprite collides with another sprite. And since we have 2 options, we have an if, then, else. So we're going to say if, so it's colliding with another sprite. So we're going to say if the other sprite is the good sprite, then we can change our label to win. Also, we need to turn our label on because it is actually, we'll do that last. If it is the wrong, so it's else, other, if it's the wrong door, you lose. Brownie face. And after that happens, we need to turn on our label. set label visible to true. So then when they drag the sprite to the correct door, the good door, they win. They take it to the wrong door, they lose, and that'll turn on their label telling them if they win or lose.